In Lesson 5-6, we're going to take a look at maps and scale drawings. So, what is a scale drawing? Well, a scale drawing is a smaller version drawing of a much larger object or area. And a scale is the amount all measurements are multiplied or divided by to equal the real measurements. Okay, so pause the video and write those definitions down before moving on to the next part.
Do you have a grading pen?
Okay, so now we're going to use a scale drawing. So they're going to tell us that the scale of a drawing is 1 inch equals 6 feet. The length of a wall is 4.5 inches on the drawing. Find the actual length of the wall. We usually write our scales in a drawing as a fraction, and then we're going to write a proportion. So it doesn't matter what order you go in. Usually we just do the first number over the second number. So we chose 1 over 6. 1 was the inches. So when I use the other number they gave me, the 4.5 inches, I need to put it in the same position as the other inches. So I'm going to put it in the top. I don't know the actual feet, so I put a letter. They chose to use N. Now you're going to go ahead and do your cross products. So 1 times N is equal to 6 times 4.5. Well, 1 times N is just N. I multiply 4.5 times 6. I have one number after the decimal, so I come one place in. So that means I get 27. So the actual length is 27 feet. So pause the video and fill that in before moving on to the quick check. Now in the quick check, you're going to use the same scale as in example 1. So if you choose 1 over 6 again, remember that was inches over feet. You have to set up a proportion. They gave you 2.5 inches, so figure out if you put that in the top or the bottom of the second fraction. And how long is the actual object? We'll put an X or whatever letter you like in the other position. And then cross multiply and solve. So pause the video and try that quick check before moving on. In example 2, now we have an actual map here. So they were nice and gave us a little ruler to measure with. So they want us to find the actual distance from Asheville to Raleigh. So we're going to use the scale. I'm going to come down a little bit. Okay, now on the scale, which is right here, they tell you that 1 centimeter is equal to 75 kilometers. So they set up the scale as a fraction. Now they gave you 4.4 centimeters as the measurement on the ruler there. So centimeters goes in top, so 4.4 over, I don't know the actual distance, so we call it N. Again, we cross multiply. 1 times N is going to be equal to 75 times 4.4. And you need to multiply this out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get 0033. I have one number after the decimal point, so I come in one place, and I get 330. So the actual distance from Asheville to Raleigh is about 330 kilometers. Okay, so pause the video before moving on to the next example. Now what happens if they ask you to find the scale? Let's say they give you all the measurements. So in example 3 here, the actual length of a wheelbase on a bike is 260 centimeters. The length on the drawing is 4 centimeters. Find the scale. So usually you do the drawing over the actual, just so you get a proper fraction with a smaller number on top. So the scale length was 4 centimeters, so that went on top. The actual length was 260. Now you need to always simplify your fractions. So I can divide both of these by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 260 divided by 4 is 6. Bring down my 0, 5. So 65. So the scale is 1 centimeter equals 65 actual centimeters. Okay, so in Quick Check 2, they want you to find the actual distance from Charlotte to Raleigh. So you're going to use the same scale. Use the ruler and measure the distance as best as you can in the centimeters. So it's okay if you're slightly off. And then cross multiply and solve your proportion. And in Quick Check 3, the length of a room is 10 inches. If the actual length is 160, what is the scale? So you're going to model Quick Check 3 after example 3 and remember to reduce your fraction. So pause the video and try those quick checks and we'll check your work in class.